Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock practicing necromancer. And today I want to kind of talk to you about the importance of respect, both giving it and receiving. It is that something that is very influential within just about every practice and style of sorcery out there. Many people today pick up books and they think, hey, I'm a Lord of Darkness. I'm this, I'm that. They give themselves names. They just start putting content out there. They think that writing a book makes you an expert on occult practices and studies, topics even. And it really doesn't. It really does not. People can see the difference between somebody that is actually true upon the path that they walk because their words and their actions align together. They're not divided. Okay. So, knowing this, how do you earn respect? It is said that respect is given, but it is also earned. Okay. So, when you when you pick up your athame, you light your candles, after erecting your shrine, your temple to any particular spirit that you're working with. It takes time to set up the temple. It takes time to set up the altars, drawing the sigils to that spirit, and it takes time to find and gather the necessary herbs that are required to not only entice that individual spirit to come forth, but also to gather the proper offerings and sacrifices that is required within any given field. Okay. So when you do this, you begin by learning the difference between an invocation and an evocation. A lot of times, rookies and amateurs, the neophytes and acolytes, they will start out with the invocations because they don't have the cojones to summon the spirits into themselves as a voluntary state of possession. This actually takes time and confidence building to actually do. This means you have to learn the rites, understand the strengths and weaknesses of the spirit, but also you must be willing to give yourself over to them so they can speak through you, especially if you're working within a coven setting. So, how do you even begin to get a coven to begin with? Okay, first of all, you got to find like minded individuals, people who really are on the same thought form as yourself, those who are on the same path and root working, even. So, if you have a group of, say, Satanists getting together, devil worshippers, and you want to call forth Abaddon, the Destroyer, or perhaps, let's say, King Belial, Belial. You'd want to do your homework first. You'd want to understand the spirit that you're working with, why and how that spirit came into being, not only to the rank that they have, but who follows that spirit. How did this being get this many legions to follow him? A lot of times you'll notice that it is by leading by example. You see, at work, I may be a shift leader, okay? I may be a low level, junior manager type thing, a shift leader, somebody with shift lead numbers and in between management and the rest of the crew as an opener and, you know, primary baker. But you have to lead by example. I always tell my kids, those that are opening with me, I always tell them point blank, if I'm not willing to do it, I'm not going to have you do it. Okay. This is basically leading by example. So if I send somebody to go clean a restroom, they're going to know flat out because I will do it before they even do. I will be the first one to have those boots on the ground. I will be the first one in, the last one out. Why? Because that's called leading by example, and it earns that level of trust. It earns that level of respect from your coworkers. So when you're working with spirits such as King Belial, Abaddon, Satan, Astaroth, you know, um, Alistar, depending on if you're going by the secret um, clavicle of Solomon or that of the lesser, goetic spirits, which actually is Astaroth being the third instead of Alistair. Okay, Alistair is actually found in a couple texts as the executioner, the torturer of the underworld. So, understanding the spirit, you put forth the rituals. You go in, you meditate, you cleanse, you do the proper procedures, such as taking a shower beforehand, washing your hands, cleaning out your mouth with water or say for an example alcohol. You know, I prefer Arbor Mist myself. It's a nice, easy wine, and you can, if you're doing, say, every ritual out of the demonic Bible put forth by Turk Edge, you're not going to get drunk. You'll still be in full control of your rituals and your rites of invocation. You can use bottled water. And if you're really skilled, holy water. You can make holy water and mix it in with your own blood, sea salt, even. It's a mixture of tap water being blessed and mixed in with sea salt, which is the purest salt out there, and then adding your own blood, a certain amount of drops, like say 13, for an example. Okay. So there's many different ways to wash your hands, to cleanse yourself, and to prepare yourself in the proper manner before you enter into that inner temple. Once you're in that inner temple, then you can light the candles, the incense, meditate upon your objective and what you hope to get out of it. Okay. Learning to speak their language, be it Enochian, Theban, or say, for an example, Celestial, even. Let's go with Hellgate system, for an example, which is a very lesser known and much older archaic language that goes back pre Mesopotamian era. Okay. Now, speaking in their language, drawing their seals, their names, your intent, pulling out, even writing out a pact that you both can live by. This takes time, this takes energy, and it takes discipline and focus to do. So once you get that together, you have the circle, you have the proper candles up and running, you have the right amount of illumination going, you have the sense, of charcoal and incense sticks. Hell, even say for an example, if you don't want to set off your fire alarms, you can even have, say for an example, oils, you know, oleums that you can burn. Put a candle underneath it, let it heat up, and that wax drops down into a liquid state. So once you have meditated and you begin chanting, connecting to that aura of that being, then you could start your invocation and evocation. Now, the spirit wants to see what you're willing to do for the knowledge that they possess. And if they see that you're willing to put all this time and energy in and complete fealty to that system of magic, they're most likely willing to open up and guide you, to teach you as an apprentice. You see, this is earning their respect. It is not something that is given up front, it is something that is earned over time. I practiced Satanism for over 30 years. Okay. Witchcraft, baneful and vile magics. Okay. It took me a long time to realize I actually had a following that respected me, okay? And it was because I was doing the work, I was putting the references out, I was doing all of this stuff, and I was making myself available to the public. Meaning, if it meant public drama, then guess what? I was associated with it for a long time. But when I became a necromancer, I guess you could say that that old lifestyle just went out the window. And the reason for that is because I was more dedicated to the spiritual pursuits than I was of the mundane. I wanted to learn about the astral project, the astral realms. I wanted to learn about the other dominions and domains of all these ancient beings. I wanted to learn from them. For an example, it took me almost a year or two before I realized this is the path that I want to walk. It's not something that I just jumped into and it was like, huh, yeah, I'm a master necromancer. No, don't work like that. Earning the respect of your elders, your teachers, and your guides is a way to unlock that knowledge, that wisdom. You actually have to put the time and energy into your rituals. You actually have to show that you're learning. You're putting forth the actual work. Okay, and a lot of times, for example, my elders, they don't really commune with me, and it's truly a true fact that a necromancer is a solo gig, much like being a Satanist. So it's really for me is no big deal because I've always been alone. I've always been a solitary practitioner. Yes, I've had a couple of covens. Yes, those covens have died off. Some of its members and I have gone our separate ways to live our lives differently. But that respect and mutual respect is always there. Okay. But with this, you consider it's been roughly about what's it been now? About I want to say about 4.5, 5 years since I went on this one path of necromancy and studying death and dying, getting to know all the entities and along that path, and then all of a sudden finding myself being an apprentice. Okay, educating myself, becoming OSHA certified, becoming an ordained archbishop. Learning and becoming getting or literally flat out earning a doctorate of divinity. It's taken me years. Okay, almost 13. What's it been now? About 12, 13 years since I started on the path of ministry. 09, 010 area. 2011 became an archdeacon. 2013 an ordained priest, and as of last year, what was it? About 2. It's now been, wow. Has it already been a year and 4 months? Whew. Wow, a year and 4 months. Wow, talk about enlightenment right there. Since I became an archbishop, legally ordained. So the exactly, zodiac shaman, reaping the fruits of the end results. So when I ended up one day, just a couple years back, going into a local store by the name of Charmed, just spelled exactly the same way as the TV show back in the '90s, starring Alyssa Milano and Holly Marie Combs and Shannon Doherty and slash Rose McGowan. Yeah, same exact name. Kind of ironic how that happened, right? So, anyways, I walked in and you know gave my name, because they asked for it, and gave them my business card and everything. And to find out that I had a coworker from Tractor Supply that literally spoke highly of me, highly. of me as an elder. And she even told me that she viewed me as an elder long before I even considered myself as an elder, a teacher. So you see where that respect comes from. I mean, I've worked with this woman for 4.5 years, 4.5 years before I left Tractor Supply due to my knee injuries and my shoulder injury because of that job. So about 4 years of dedicated and committed research into the field of necromancy, dedicated and committed, complete fealty to religious worship, understanding what a servant is, understanding what a religious zealot is by very definition. I mean, these are things that what does it mean to serve the spirits? What does it mean to serve in general? A lot of times when you look up the term servitude or servant, you're looking at somebody like a barmaid or you know a waitress or waiter in a restaurant, somebody who's in the armed forces serving a country, you know, serving a king or a president, representing the country and the nation that he's employed to protect, or she is employed to protect. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into earning that respect. A lot of times, you're going to see people saying, "Thank you for your service and your sacrifices." Especially when it comes to World War II veterans. I mean, there's really not many of them around today. So when you meet one of these great elders, it's good to sit down with them and listen to the stories that they have. If you actually look at the Norse mythology, the Vikings were renowned, the Druids were renowned for telling stories and songs, not just giving offerings and sacrifices to the gods. They did all this. So when you look at the term servant, having that clear understanding of what a servant is, that is how you earn that respect, because you are literally having that complete fealty to your patron or patroness, to the very practice that you perform on a daily basis. It is not just something that's temporary, or say for an example, I'm going to practice it today but not tomorrow. No, this is an everyday lifestyle choice that you make. Your sacrifice is you're no longer a part of the mundane. You've moved on to becoming an intermediary. If you're working with Belial, then Belial has given you that title of priest or priestess, senatorship, even. Think of it as ambassadorship. Because number one, you represent the spirits that you work with. Does not matter if it's the Loa, the Orisha, the 72 goetic demons of Solomon, or even the Jinn or the Devi. Okay? It does not matter because you represent them. But you also are responsible to what you do and say to and around the public, because you're separated from them. They look up to you for that spiritual advice, that guidance. Yes, you will touch nerves on some people and they will hate your fucking guts. Okay? It's inevitable. You will make enemies along your path. But it's not about those enemies, it's the ones that you are able to guide and to help along your path. It is about being true to yourself and being true to your oaths and the pacts that you have put forth. So if you have put forth a pact, a blood pact, even a dark pact, to say Lucifer, or and you've done this right with Lucifer Raphael, then guess what? He is the Lucifer Raphael is the keeper of the pacts. He is the scribe and the infernal pact maker. So right there, you've already separated from, say, the blood pact with the Mesopotamian, trickster himself, Mephistopheles, you know, whose pacts are only temporary and only for one thing. A demonic pact is something that you make with a specific being. So you are aligning yourself with that being and what that being is about. Okay. And if you make yourself into an apprentice of that being, then you're going to be spending a lot of time researching. You're going to be doing a lot of time studying and practicing. This means heavy, heavy amounts of meditation. You're going to be communing with these entities. You're going to be working with your chakras, your kundalini, and opening up your meridians. You're going to be doing a lot just to serve these beings. Because if you think about, these beings have earned their titles in their ranks. You are but a flea in the cosmos. A flea. It does not make you better than me or anyone else. It just simply means that you have made up your mind. I'm going to do everything in my power, in my capability, through finances, through family, through friendships, through whatever, through religious worship. I'm going to put all this dedication and commitment into being the best form that I can be, and do the work that not only that you want me to put forth, but that you're willing to teach me on how to do myself. Okay. It would be like going to a magi and saying, "Hey, will you teach me?" Think of the black pellet. The best way I can describe this is through the black pellet. It's a little pamphlet, deals with a lot of seals for numerous different things, from bringing food through to having spiritual servitors, to bringing women forth, and concubines, succubus, stuff like that forth for pleasure and whatever. But it also deals with money and finances and a lot of different other things that you see within the full clavicle of Solomon, not just the grimoire tradition of the Constitution of Pope Honorius. Okay, even the Grand Grimoire itself, the Red Dragon or the main one, you know, it's there. So it shows you in the Black Pellet where this one media guy is with this platoon, and that platoon gets ambushed outside this pyramid in Giza, and he was left for dead. Now this old man, he comes out of his pyramid, drags this social media employee in there, and he starts nursing him back to health, healing his wounds, teaching. And then when he gets up, he feeds him, starts educating him, and before long, he's got to pack together an oath, and he became an apprentice of this Magi, and he has a copy of the guy's grimoire. Okay, so he has the black book, which is the main black book that belongs to that Magi. So now he's got a grimoire, which is a copy of that black book. Okay, so now he's got a copy of this, and he takes it home, and he's sworn to be buried with it if he dies without finding a proper successor. So the rule of two holds true. Okay, the master and the apprentice. And I know what some of you are thinking. I really do. You're thinking, oh, Star Wars, the Jedi, the Sith, the rule of two, right? No. Although, if you get into Celtic and Swedish folklore, you will find the Sith, also known as the Sidi, which are known as the people of the mounds, okay, who actually made a pact with their enemy to go underground. So you will see that in folklore, especially in European folklore. It would be like the Fae, the Elven, if you will, the Hobbit, you know, in European traditions. You'll see all of this because they have three different aspects to them. So, just like the practitioners in different regions are known by different names, the Hexa, the Stragoi, the Strega, the Eshi, the Aji, the Shaman, the Necromancer, all of this stuff plays into effect. So you're earning your teacher's respect. You're earning the respect of your communities. You're earning the respect of the spirits that you work with because you have made yourself into that ambassador. You've earned each step of the way. So, earning respect is given both ways because they will respect you for putting the time and the hours in, which means they will share their wisdom and knowledge with you because you're proving that you're learning and you're proving that you're willing to put hours upon hours of dedicated, complete fealty to your work. Okay. But it also shows that when you go to them, be it the spirits or to your elders, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, showing that you're willing to become submissive to learn that humbleism is a form of respect. It is showing respect to a greater mage. Okay. And a lot of people, especially in today's social media, you're going to get on online and all you see is fucking drama. All you see is drama, witch wars. Although lately it's been political aspects and this stuff on Toby Maguire dying of stomach cancer. Everybody wants to be a part of that. You got to reap the the whirlwind, if you will, for your 1 minute of fame. Hey, I was there. I did this. Who gives a shit? Really, who gives a shit? You know, he didn't ask for you to follow him, but he earned your respect through his music. You liked his music because he put long hours in and he earned every dollar. But a lot of people don't stop to think, what did this man give up to become a celebrity? What did this guy give up to do what he does best? I mean, do you think becoming a celebrity is something that's quick and easy, that it's about fame and fortune? That's all well and good. But do you stop to think about what it's going to cost you? You can't go out without bodyguards. You can't go out without being swarmed with media, a media frenzy. You cannot, go out with your family without being swarmed by fans when they recognize you. I mean, yeah, there's perks of having a store closed just for you to go in and do what you need to do. But you're giving up a hell of a lot to live a life of fame and fortune. And that's if you actually get into it and make it. You have to build from the roots up. This means you've got to have a strong foundation. You have to have that strong foundation and you have to earn every step. In the financial world, it is called acquiring assets. Acquiring assets, not liabilities. Okay? The reason the rich get richer is because they don't put out money if they don't have to. You're an asset, but you're also a liability. If you're a liability, they will cut you like a bad apple. Hmm. Interesting how that works, right? But in occultism, it's a lot different because number one, a good teacher will not teach those who are liabilities. A good teacher will only teach those who continue to show progress in the fruits of their labor. That means if you're willing to become dedicated, committed to what you practice, to become complete fealty, put forth complete fealty to the spirits and the work, making it an actual lifestyle, they will teach you. When you stop learning, they stop teaching. When you learn, they teach. It's mutual respect. It's called accountability. They're responsible for what you learn and what you do. So if you do something that's not kosher, let's say, for an example, if you attack a brother or sister without cause, then you become an outcast. They will cut you like a bad habit, like a cancer. They'll just cut you right out. You're gone. They will not want anything to do with you because you have become a liability to that foundation. Think of it as a tree. To grow a good tree, it has to have that strong roots, right? And then you have to have that strong foundation, that base for it to build on. So if you got one branch that is corrupt, cut it out. Cut that branch right off. And in the long run, the tree is healthier. Much better. No chaos, no drama. You just do what you got to do to keep that knowledge pure, to keep the practices pure, not corrupted. Because if you allow corruption in, you're no better than these regurgitated practitioners who are literally regurgitating material to death. Everybody's got their own variation to it. Nobody's furthering it, nobody's learning from it. You know, take the COS for an example. They got all these rules, this creed, the 21 satanic points, the 11 satanic rules of the earth, the 9 satanic sins, the 9 satanic statements, but nobody goes by them. You know, nobody goes by them. It's all show and tell. They only come out once a year and forced to say, "Hey, we're still being the bad guy, the anti-Christian, enemy." But in the long run, where does it get them? Well, let's see. I believe the Thulian Society just stole something from them legally, so they got caught with their pants down because they're too busy playing a part instead of actually doing the work. Wow. Okay. Let's go with the Satanic Temple. Their words and their actions are two different things. They say we're doing this to betterment the entire satanic community, but yet in the same sentence, they're going to go back and recant that and say, and I quote, we feel that our members' rights are being violated. Wow. So where's the respect there? If you're doing this for an entire community, then there shouldn't be segregation. There shouldn't be division within your ranks. Everyone should be equal, right? You should be doing this for the entire community. Do you think the Shem priesthood picked and chose who they would help back in the first, second, and third dynasty of Egypt? How about the Hashashin, 6th century to the 12th century? No. They were a band of brothers and sisters. They put the community and their religion above all else. They sacrificed themselves. Well, kind of puts today's age to shame, doesn't it? Just saying. You want respect. It's earned, but it's also given. You have to give respect and then earn it, especially if you're working with an elder or you're working with a spirit. You have to earn that right, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something where you can pick a book and go, guess what? I'm now a lord of darkness. I'm going to call on this being. I mean, look at look at Ellie Mercury for an example. I mean, the kid is now a registered sex offender. He was in prison for I don't know how long, from what I understand. And he thought he was killing and reaping all these gods. Well, the shitstorm came where he got knocked down and he ended up with nothing because he didn't build a strong foundation. He didn't give respect. He did not earn his way. He thought he could pick up a book and become a god. And that's the issue with a lot of people of today's occultists, most of which are just living an image. They're not making it a lifestyle, a way of life. Look at, for an example, and look at the old school Christians. Look at the Catholics. They were willing to butcher the world in the name of their God. Their God was willing to annihilate the entire world and save only everything, two of everything, one male and one female. Wow. Just to get rid of corruption, just to get rid of the bad mojo. Hmm. Look at the burning times, the witch trials, the holy wars, the crusades. Have these taught you nothing? Have these taught you nothing? I mean, hell, even the original Illuminati from the 15th century, who thought having a religion and a science based foundation was better than just living off faith alone. Now, look at your practices that you have today, your chalice, your phallus, your your temples, your rituals that you do. You have circles, you have of empowerment, you've got sigils, you got herbs to call forth spirits. You have ritual robes. You got elixirs, oleums, candles. You're learning how to make different powders. This is science based. This is called alchemy. This is what the old school magi and sages knew. This is what the Hexa knew. They spent all their time studying herbs and plants and trees, finding out how to heal, how to make sick, and how to eliminate an enemy. They learned how to go beyond the flesh and into the spirit. Look at the look at the shaman. Look at the ancient necromancers in ancient Greek, Nicaea practices that were similar to the shamanistic soul journey, the spiritual journey. Do you think that level of respect to where you can learn this stuff comes easy? Do you think there's an easy button to do that? Do you think all these old school practitioners had a keyboard where they can just type any given subject and go, oh, I'm a master? No. They actually had to go forth to learn, to know. They had to dare to go forth, number one. They had to pick up a book and learn. They had to study. They had to practice. They had to literally keep silent on their practices because of the enemies who would seek their downfall out of envy, jealousy, and anything else that you can think of. Perhaps even spite because they dared to show what works. That's how we ended up with the witch trials, the frenzy there. That's how we ended up with the burning times, the crusades. Had to stomp out this enemy. Why? Because you don't believe what they believe? Where's the respect? You talk about respect, but you're not going to show it? No wonder the Russians are invading Ukraine. No wonder China is doing what they're doing. No wonder North Korea is doing what they're doing. No wonder Pakistan is doing what they're doing. No wonder political upheaval between two campaigns, Trump and Biden, are going on in the world. No wonder Texas is separated from the U.S. to block off their own fucking border. Wow. It goes a long way to show that you trust the people in your own state, in your own backyard, more than you do your own government. The government doesn't respect you, but yet those that run your state do. Amazing. Now, think of that from an occult practitioner's perspective. All that. I want you to take a good, earnest look at your world. I want you to look at your practices. I want you to look at your grimoire if you have one. Look at your life's goal. On one path, it's taken me 4 years of dedicated service to get to where I'm at. 2 years of dedicated service within another path of where I'm at today and my current journey. Because it was recommended to me that I tap into this other current by one of my elders. But you know what? It was worth it because putting forth that evidence that you're learning and you're growing, you get your elders looking at you going, "We want to thank you for continuing to show your prosperity, your dedicated and committed work, your complete fealty to the system of magic." And on the same hand, you're looking at them and saying, "Thank you for being a great elder. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the wisdom that you've given me, the knowledge and the sampling, if you will, of a little bit of gnosis of where to begin on a specific topic." Sometimes they'll come forth and go, "Hey, because of what you've been practicing, I want you to work on this." And now you got homework. Shows respect because they feel that you are ready for that level of commitment. Don't you think that's a good thing? Loyalty, trust, respect, integrity, discipline, focused. I don't know about you, but I do. I think it's worth it. I mean, what am I giving up? The world? I mean, think about it. I really have no friends that I hang out with. All my friends, most of my friends are dead. Most of my friends that I grew up with are dead. Or they've joined the Tetragrammaton. They've joined the JCI. And they want nothing to do with me either way. So what have I really given up? Besides my time, my energy? Absolutely nothing. Can you say the same? Can you say the same that you've done that? That you're willing to do that? That's on you. I want you to think about that. Whatever you preach, always back it up with numerous sources. And always make yourself available to the public because you are responsible for the things that you do and say. You are the servant. You are the ambassador between the spirits that you work with and that of the public. You will be feared, you will be respected, but it's how you present yourself that is going to speak 1,000 words or inflict you with 1,000 cuts. Your choice. I want to thank Godfrey524 for jumping on here with me. I want to thank Tars 678 Trapkeeper Zodiac Shaman for jumping on here with me. For those of you who are jumping on here afterwards, thank you. Feel free to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another video. Also, hit the notification button as well. That way you get notified when I go live next or when I post something. And feel free to follow if you want. All right. Have a good one. I'm out.